Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I want to start off by saying that any and all thoughts and opinions are just that, thoughts and opinions. In no way am I sharing professional advice when it comes to physical and mental health. These videos are simply for fun and to provide my thoughts on the topic. Do not send any hate to anyone I talk about, and please be kind in the comments. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So we're going to be reacting to a video from Apathetic Facts based around the whole situation with Amber and her ex Valentine. There's a lot to get through today, but I want to start off with a couple of quick disclaimers. First and foremost, I want to start the conversation by saying that I do not agree with Amberlynn Reid or the actions that she has taken throughout her entire history of YouTube, especially when it comes to her friends, families, partners, or pets. I don't believe that any of the things that she has done is justifiable or agreeable. That being said, the actions that Valentine and her wife have also taken part of do not necessarily make them victims. I do believe that they are also part of the problem and should be criticized just as equally as Amber. I do believe that although Amber did start off as the victim of a practical joke that went too far, she did progress into being somewhat of a harasser and deserves to be criticized as well. So I'm not going to completely defend her in this, but I also say that she's not 100% at fault. The second thing I want to say is that I may not necessarily have all of the information and that I may leave some parts out. That isn't because it's a purpose thing or anything like that. It's simply because I haven't seen it. Please let me know in the comments if I have missed something or I may have gotten something wrong simply because I did not see the full context. I will really appreciate that. That way I can fix it in a later video or edit my video and fix it then. The last thing I want to point out is I may have to break this up into multiple parts simply for just editing purposes and stuff like that. There is a lot of information to get through and it is a bit of a long one, so it may be 2 or 3 parts, so please bear with me as I get them edited and put them out one after another. Alright, so let's get into the video, shall we?
Hello, Apathetic Facts. This is Erica. I do want to say how this all started was me and Brittany were sitting in bed and we saw one of Amberlynn's posts talking about masculine women. And Brittany looked at me and I looked at her and I was like, what if I messaged her? Right? So our first message was, I was like,
Alright guys, I know that we only just started, but there's actually a lot to really unpack in this first little part. First and foremost, like, regardless of your opinion of Amber, and I don't necessarily like her myself, you can't just catfish and essentially mentally and emotionally manipulate someone into believing that 1, you are single, 2, that you are interested, and 3, you're going to have a relationship or future with this person. And again, say what you will about Amber, but you can't do that to another human being. That is very just mentally twisted, in my opinion. The second thing is that you and your partner have said that you watch Amber, and there is 10 years of history of things that Amber has done throughout her life, which come off as incredibly abusive and manipulative. So you knew what you were getting into when you decided to do this in the first place. And really, you know, the third thing that raises like massive red flags to me is that Brittany, Erica's partner, has gone on the record to say that she is a therapist. And how are you as a therapist going to do something like that to a person who has said that she has a personality disorder, that has attachment issues, and quickly and easily falls in love with people to the point where she's obsessed and infantilizes this idea of living a obsession of love? Like, Amber is not a very mentally healthy person, and anyone who even watches 1 or 2 of her videos can easily see that. And it does raise a lot of alarm bells to me, because how are you as a professional therapist going to do that to someone with mental health issues? It's very concerning to me. And, you know, agree to disagree on whether or not Amber does deserve it. I don't personally believe that really anyone deserves it, even if you are a bad person. But that is just solely my opinion on it.
I think I said like masculine women question mark or something like that. And she messaged me back and we were messaging for a while, back and forth, just like talking. And then, of course, it started becoming a problem, between Brittany and I, because I was like, apparently, I guess her true colors were showing, whatever. She did ask if I was with anyone. And so I had talked to Brittany and I was like, what should I tell her? And Brittany was like, tell her that, like, we're still technically married, but that, you know, we aren't, like, technically together, but we're, like, by law still married. So I gave her that story. And rode with it for a while. And of course, I do deserve this backlash that I'm getting because I trolled her for a while and just kind of like get like a kick out of it, you know, whatever. It's Amberlynn Reid.
I think this part of the video really does sum up her mental and emotional state because it comes off as incredibly disingenuous and just performative overall. And I think that is because even though she is technically accepting accountability for her actions, but it's really only because she was caught and there is no consequences to her actions. Like, yes, she did manipulate someone and lead someone on, but it's Amberlynn Reid, so what? She did cheat on her partner, but her partner is staying in the relationship, so what? It's almost like she doesn't actually care. It's almost like I need to say what I need to say to do damage control, and whatever happens, because by, next week or the week after, something new is going to happen, so everyone's going to forget about us. And I'm not actually saying that she deserves any repercussions. Like, I don't want her to end up being, divorced or facing any legal repercussions, which she can't, but, that type of thing. I'm saying more so, if you're going to apologize and you're going to take accountability, at least mean it. Otherwise, it's sort of like a slap in the face because the words are hollow and they mean nothing.
I wasn't a big fan of her for a very long time, and she does know. I openly told her, Amberlynn, that, I used to watch her and I disliked her extremely at one point, and of course she wasn't too fond of that.
I don't know about that. I mean, if you genuinely dislike someone, and I mean dislike someone, how can you cheat on your partner of almost 10 years with them? That's like, I don't know, that says a lot about your character, if you ask me.
So the conversation continued, and then it got, kind of out of hand. And so also I'd like to point out that while I was talking to Amberlynn, she was talking to a girl named Danielle that was also married. I don't know like the full details behind that whole situation. I just know that I was kind of like the back burner person of this whole triangle that she had going on. Like, she was talking to another girl named Abby, and then she was telling me about her friend named Alexis, and then she was telling me about Danielle and how she was crazy over her and blah blah blah.
Oh wait, whoa, hold up 1 second. Did I actually just hear that right? Like, I have watched this video before, but I didn't actually remember listening to this part, so I might have been doing something else. But you're willing to compromise and throw away a 10-year relationship, almost 10-year relationship with your partner and wife over not being someone's first choice, not being someone's second choice, but being someone's third choice. Like, how are you actually going to get online and actually say that with your chest? Like, get some self-respect. What the actual hell? Alright, so this is editing me from the future, and I just want to pop in and say that even though my reaction was genuine, I really shouldn't have spoke like that. I was a little disrespectful and rude, so I do apologize, but I think, yeah, that's just wow is the only thing I really have to say, so we're going to get back to the video now.
And then we kind of just like started talking more and more and more, and then, my wife was like, hey, I don't want you talking to her anymore. So there was a time where we didn't talk, but shortly after did start talking again. I'm not a good person for like doing this.
Agreed.
Whenever me and Amberlynn supposedly like broke. Okay. I'm backtrack. I'm going too far ahead. Just give me a second. So we kept talking. She started becoming really possessive. She started, talking about Brittany, how I always choose her first, and that I won't be her girlfriend, and I wouldn't choose her. And so on, I think it was like Valentine's Day or whatever, she was giving me a hard time about it, and it more so felt forced. And that was through text. So if she tries to show those texts, you'll see that was a forced agreement for me and her to be in a relationship. And so I was like, so what would this relationship be? And she was like, just more loyal, more communication, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay.
All right, so I'm kind of on the fence about this, and I know this may be a little bit of a touchy subject, but I don't necessarily agree with the idea of being forced. And um, like first and foremost, I want to explain that I don't condone or agree with Amber's actions. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that she was in the right. She was completely 100% in the wrong, but so was Erica in this situation. Because if Instagram was the only way for you to the two of you to contact each other, all you would have had to was just log out. You could have logged out, you could have made a new account, you could have blocked Amber, you could have muted Amber. That way you didn't have to see the messages until you opened up Instagram. Like, there was multiple avenues you could have done. You even said yourself that the two of you had stopped contacting each other for a period of time and that you had no contact whatsoever. Like, you willingly chose to go back in contact with Amber again. So you can't really say that you were being pressured or forced into a relationship, because you willingly accepted and continued the conversation when you yourself knew you didn't want to be in the relationship. It's kind of hard to really call yourself a victim when you're not really a victim. You had the majority of the power in the situation. And I understand how manipulation works, so don't get me wrong. Like, I do understand that it was something that may have made her felt that she was powerless in the situation, but she really had all of the power in the relationship, because all she would have had to do was just log out of Instagram, like, over and done with. And of course, this doesn't take away from what Amber did. Like, you do not pressure people into relationships. And if someone feels like they're hesitating on you, just accept the L, move on, and find someone else that will love and respect you. That being said, I don't necessarily agree with Amber being in a relationship for a very long time, or a relationship at all. I think that she could potentially and maybe should end up alone for the rest of her life. Like, I would rather Amber be alone than her to continue the cycle of abuse with more and more and more people. Like, sometimes people don't deserve love, and that is a sad reality, but if you are a bad person, you probably don't deserve it. Sorry. Like, that's a you problem.
I can deal with that, whatever. And that was where it came about. We continued talking, and things got more and more in depth with each other. And I was actually starting to second guess, like, her as a person. Maybe the haters are wrong, maybe she isn't a bad person, because the side that I saw of her wasn't the person that I saw on YouTube. Like, the side she gave of me was different. So I don't know if that's like manipulation or if that's masking. I don't know. I'm not very good with psychology. Even though I should be well-rounded in it, I'm not. And
I mean, yeah, that's how relationships with manipulators work. They're going to gaslight you and make your perception of them seem genuinely good, when in reality it's not. They're going to, you know, abuse the emotional connection you have with them. That's how it works.
things got out of hand. We said things we shouldn't have said to each other. I never said anything bad about my wife to her. That's one thing that really made her upset, was like, if anything, like, my wife had switched jobs, and she tried to, like, Amberlynn tried to say, oh, your wife's at home more, because she took some time off, and Amberlynn was upset because my wife was home more and I couldn't talk to her much. And she said, oh, well, she quit her job because she's being a baby. And I was like, no, she quit because, it was two different conversations, but I basically was saying, like, she's taking a bigger pay raise, and a better opportunity. It's not because she's being a baby.
All right, so I have to give Erica half a point, primarily because, at least you didn't degrade your wife to Amber. Yes, it was a manipulation tactic to split the two of yous up, but at least you didn't fall for it, and you still have some sort of level of respect for her. Apparently not enough to not do the bare minimum and not cheat on her, but at least, it's something. The second thing is, Amber needs to take several seats, because how dare you criticize someone else for not having a job when you yourself can't even do the bare minimum, filming 5 to 10 minutes a day. So, like, ma'am, no, just don't even.
That's not who she is. And it would upset her that I always, like, talked about, like, if my wife came into conversation, I was talking about her in a more positive light. And my wife is not some crazy person that Amberlynn is saying she is.
I don't know about that. That's kind of debatable if you ask me.
I'm getting off subject here. My apologies. So we would talk. We FaceTimed. Anytime I looked off, like I was looking at my phone, she would always question me. She was like wanting me to send screenshots of like my inbox and my text messages and stuff and like who I'm talking to and things of that nature. Like she was kind of becoming possessive and she was questioning me all the time. So, she was like, why don't you leave the house, go to the store or something so you can call me? And I'm like, no, like my wife has 360. So me and my wife have 360 and we know where each other are at any given time. So, it's not like I'm running around doing crazy stuff. So she made the comment saying, I need you to put me on Life 360. So I was like, no, not going to do that. A couple weeks go by and she's still pestering me about it. And I agreed to it, and like an idiot, and she was Googling every address I would go to, finding out. Yeah, sorry, I am nervous, very nervous, because I'm the piece of crap in this situation. Like my wife should not be getting any of this backlash. If anybody should get,
Like at this point, it is just far beyond any reasonable comprehension whatsoever. Like I understand Life 360 specifically for women and stuff like that for protection, and needing to know where your partner is just in case of emergencies. But at this point, it's like just a massive red flag where Amber needs to know where you are 24/7. And on top of that, she actually Googles and finds out, and then she messages you about it. Just God no, I would like run for the hills. Like I would just get out of Dodge.
backlash, it should be me. I just don't want, like, yeah, I'm freaking freaked out by the Kiwi Farm people and Reddit and all these haters. Like, hey, I was one of them and I did something stupid and I misjudged her and I was, I don't want to say she casted a spell on me, but she like, it was almost like manipulation at its finest.
Yeah, of course, manipulation is something that is very hard to overcome once you are so deep into it. It's almost like it's a black hole and you're not able to find the way out. It is understandable that once you get in so deep that it's almost next to impossible until, you know, you hit your rock bottom where you can finally go, wow, I can't believe I ever got that deep in the first place. That is why I am somewhat on the fence about it when I say that I don't necessarily agree that, you can just pass all responsibility onto Amber because ultimately you did take part in it. But I'm not going to say that you're not 100% at fault because manipulation is a very difficult thing to get out of once it happens. And it is a very dangerous thing. Like, it has life altering or life ending consequences for some people, especially women. So, like, I can understand that, it is something that she struggled with at a point, and, I don't necessarily say that she's a victim in this situation, but she definitely is not completely responsible for it. And I know that some people may disagree with me and, say that I do have sort of a narrow-minded view, and I could understand that. People have their own opinions, but I wouldn't necessarily say that, she's not completely free of criticism in her actions.
And I will say that that woman is a professional. There was times where I was like questioning my reality, like what the fuck is going on because of the things that we would talk about. Yeah, that was the gist of our relationship. We FaceTimed, we talked, we send pictures, whatever.
I don't know. Does anyone else kind of feel like she was downplaying when she said that they were sending photos to one another? I don't know. It seems almost like she was trying to dismiss it and trying to make it less than what it seems. I feel like there may be a little bit more to that, but there may just be speculation on my part.
She knew where I was. She asked where I was going. She was always questioning me. She would ask me, when was the last time I kissed my wife? I need to tell her every time I kiss my wife. I need to tell her every time I have sex with my wife. Because she eventually found out that me and my wife were not like technically married, that we were married and we did have an active relationship and that we have been together for a long time and that we were, affectionate, everything like that. And she was upset about it, of course, but, she forgave me. And, I was upset for like hurting her feelings, of course, because she cried about it. She was hurt by it. And, people crying upsets me. And so I was like, I'm a bit.
This is definitely the part of the conversation where I would say Amber is 100% in the wrong. And, I completely understand and agree that, those questions are invasive. And if Erica was to feel a certain type of way, I would completely 100% agree with her. And I do understand that she did lead Amber on and believe that Amber was in a monogamous relationship with her. But at the end of the day, when you find out someone is, cheating on you, or you are cheating on them with their partner, you should really end the conversation, end the relationship, and move on, instead of asking, hey, I want to know every single time you interact with one another, because that is truly disturbing on a just a whole nother level. And that really just proves how entitled Amber believes that she is to someone else's private life and information. Like, you don't ask that of a married couple, let alone someone that you're essentially helping cheat in a relationship. Like, move on and find someone else. What the hell is wrong with you, Amber?
I'm still a big piece of shit for all of this, and if I could take it all back, I would. Okay. I don't know what type of backlash I'm going to get for giving you all this information. I'm hoping that, this gets the people off of my wife's back. If anything, like, cuss me out, call me a piece of shit, blare my.
Yes and no. I don't believe that she should be free from criticism because she did participate in the beginning, but I don't think she should hold most of the responsibility, because that goes towards both you and Amber.
Picture on Reddit, anywhere you want to do, but I don't want my wife getting backlash for this. Me and her moved past this, actually. June 9th. I'm sitting, this is the time frame where I'm kind of like trying to push Amberlynn away. Like, not really talking to her much. I was trying to like let her down easy and like not being like, okay, we need to end things. Cause I tried to multiple times and she would like literally FaceTime me and show her whole face crying, her makeup. She would send me crazy videos of her and songs and like trying to get my attention, whatever, saying I made her triggered. She has abandonment issues, and she was begging for me not to end things. And she claims that I was like cheating on her, but she was wanting me to give her information about my sex life with my wife.
This is really the part of the conversation where I do genuinely feel bad for Erica, in the sense that, she went from being more of the instigator to the victim. And as time progresses, she does become mentally and emotionally manipulated. And it's a very sad thing. Like, I'm not condoning Amber's actions whatsoever. And I know I have defended a little bit of her actions and defend her a little bit, but I'm not defending any of her actions like right now. Like, a lot of these are reprehensible and there's no way to justify them whatsoever. And just because Emma may have been the victim in the beginning does certainly not mean she is justifiable in her actions now. And without a doubt, there is probably more that Amber has to accept, like a lot of criticism, and there's probably a lot more. And I know that Amber has actually done a live stream when I'm actually currently filming and editing this. So most likely she's going to try and play the victim and not take accountability whatsoever. But I can tell without a doubt there is going to be a lot more that's going to come out, and it's going to be a lot worse for Amber, because a lot of these issues ultimately are caused by Amber forcing people to stay in relationships when they want to leave. It is genuinely disgusting to see. And the more I really dig into this, the more I'm seeing that, it's just, it's really just demented, if you ask me. Like, there's no better word to describe Amber than just absolutely demented at this point. Alright, guys, so this is going to be the end of part one, and I will continue on with part two. I know that I did defend Amber a little bit. Not her actions, but her as a person, primarily because she did technically start off as the victim of a cruel joke, but as the situation went on, she did progressively turn into the aggressor, and I certainly do not condone her actions, but I will defend her when I believe that she deserves to be defended. Ultimately, she is a bad person, and I know some people may perceive it to be the type of situation where she may deserve it. I don't necessarily agree with that, but if that is your take on it, I'm agree to disagree. Ultimately, I don't believe that just because someone is a bad person, they deserve those type of actions against them. I do think Erica is a bad person, and that even though she did start off as, the instigator, ultimately her feelings are valid and she doesn't deserve to be completely dismissed, and I don't think she is completely at fault either. I do also believe that Brittany deserves some of the responsibility, and even though she was technically cheated on, you did gamble your relationship and you did lose. So, you deserve some of the responsibility, and whatever happened is partially your fault as well. That being said, I don't believe that I'm going to defend Amber much more, especially the more that comes out. And once I do watch her live stream, I know for a fact that she is going to play the victim, so I'm definitely going to be regretting defending her. But I know that I think, you know, it is the right thing to do sometimes. Even if you don't necessarily like or agree with someone, you can't, you know, accept bad actions happening to her, because then that leans way to believing that some other people deserve it too, and I don't necessarily agree with that. But thank you for watching. I really do hope you guys enjoyed the video, and please let me know how you feel about it in the comments. Bye bye.